Espionage, the act of spying. In today's world, it is carried out in ways that would have seemed alien just a handful of generations ago. Nations across the globe develop, innovate and iterate in a constant race to stay one step ahead of their adversaries, and it has been this way for millennia, with the first known acts of espionage recorded by the ancient Egyptians. However, through the centuries, one thing has remained true. If you are caught in an act of espionage, you are likely to face some of the harshest punishments known to man. And on the 10th of September 2012, Martin Pezlar and Ivan Buchta, two game developers from Bohemia Interactive working on the soon-to-be-released ARMA 3, would find this out for themselves after being arrested for espionage and faced with a potential sentence of 20 years. This is the Greek island Lemnos. But if you are a subscriber of this channel or have ever played ARMA 3, then you probably know it as Altus, ARMA 3's flagship map covering a massive 270 square kilometers. Even by today's standards, it is huge. Altus is essentially a replica of the real-world Lemnos, from the terrain features like the salt flats to the military airbase. A seasoned ARMA 3 player would essentially know their way around Lemnos without ever having been there. The two are so similar that some Greeks spoke out against Bohemia Interactive's depiction of the island, claiming that it could be used to train troops for a real-world invasion of Lemnos. And to be fair, that's probably not unrealistic. You see, ARMA maps are created using LiDAR or light detection and ranging to generate a height map. This height map gives you the terrain features, every mountain, valley and river recreated with an accuracy threshold of around 1 meter. A satellite image of the area is then layered on top of the height map, and given enough time and patience, you can then place every tree, rock and building damn near exactly as it is in real life. It is this level of detail and commitment to realism that has seen ARMA 3 footage used as fake news and propaganda on many occasions, with in-game footage even being accidentally released by mainstream media as real-life combat footage. This became such a problem that Bohemia Interactive themselves had to release a statement outlining some of the telltale signs to look for when determining whether footage is from ARMA 3 or real life. Unfortunately for Martin Pezlar and Ivan Buchta, it would be this commitment to detail and realism that would see them facing espionage charges. Taking photos while on holiday is not uncommon. You could even say it would be strange if you didn't. However, in the case of Pezlar and Buchta, it was what they took photos of that would land them in hot water. The pair travelled to the island of Lemnos, but according to them and Bohemia's statement, they were simply there to enjoy the sights and beautiful weather, and not on an official data collecting mission. Either way, they couldn't resist grabbing some footage and a few pictures of the military airbase. Call it crazy passion for their craft or just a silly mistake, but it didn't really matter. Greek law states that it is illegal to take photos or footage of military structures, and the charge for doing so is espionage, and the local police had just witnessed them do exactly that. I can only imagine how they must have looked back at that moment in disbelief that something so seemingly minor was about to turn their lives upside down. The two men were arrested for suspected espionage and promptly transferred to the island of Lesbos to be processed in the district court. Their sunny island getaway had turned into a nightmare, and little did they know, it was not going to end quickly. Despite it being reported that morale amongst the ARMA 3 development team back at Bohemia Interactive had dropped upon learning of the arrests, the ARMA community rallied around Martin and Ivan, as I've seen it do so many times before for those in need. The website helpivanmartin.org was set up to show support and monitor the situation, and while this was going on, things had reached a political level, with a Czech diplomat speaking with the Greek president and the Czech president calling for the issue to be resolved with special attention. Although disputes and strike action amongst the Greek justice system at the time meant things would move even slower than usual. After spending 129 days in a Lesbos prison, Martin Pezlar and Ivan Buchta were finally released on bail on January 15, 2013 and returned home to the Czech Republic on January 17. However, the nightmare was far from over and would continue to rest on their shoulders for years to come. The men still had to return to Greece for their court date, and in a show of good character, Ivan Buchta stated, Although it certainly won't be pleasant to go there, we will respect all the decisions of the Greek justice. On May 15, 2017, more than 4 years after the men were released on bail, a Lesbos court rejected the claim that the men's interest in the island was purely related to ARMA 3's development and convicted them of espionage, handing down both men a 2.5-year prison sentence suspended for 3 years. Pezlar and Buchta both appealed their sentences, and they would return to Greece just under a year later on May 7, 2018, 5 years and 8 months after the original arrest. A Greek appeals court reduced their sentence to 1.5 years while maintaining the 3-year suspended sentence, and the men finally returned to the Czech Republic. Their suspended sentences ended on May 15, 2020, finally marking the end of the ordeal. Although ARMA 3 would release with its flagship map being a virtual replica of the real-world island where today's story began, Bohemia Interactive would make the call to change the island's name from Lemnos to Altus to mark the game's fictional nature. If you enjoyed today's story, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. I aim to bring high-quality storytelling to the world of tactical shooters in Milsim, whether it be through video essays like this one or via my story-driven playthroughs. Thanks for watching.